segment show. Also today in this segment, I'm at the Trails and Rails Museum in Kearney, Nebraska. The Trails and Rails Museum is located on 710 West 11th Street in Kearney, Nebraska. Also, the Trails and Rails Museum is open Mondays through Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., and Sundays, 1 to 5 p.m. from Memorial Day to Labor Day. And after Labor Day and before Memorial Day, or Memorial Day weekend, or on Memorial Day weekend, Monday through Friday, 1 to 5. The Trails and Rails Museum has old buildings such as a Boyd House, Freighters Hotel, an 1898 church, a schoolhouse, the J.C. Marlatt blacksmith shop, a gazebo, a livery barn, and a railroad depot, and a steam locomotive, and flat car and caboose from the Union Pacific Railroad. Okay, that's the used on railroad path, and also it is here on display at the Trails and Rails Museum in Kearney, and also I think it was used with this station, or maybe it was used on Main Line. Union Pacific 481 was built by Baldwin in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania in 1903 and is the 21,745th steam locomotive built by that factory, and is a 280 consolidation type steam locomotive, and is a C57 class steam locomotive. Union Pacific 481 was a freight locomotive on the Union Pacific Railroad, and I believe it was used in Cheyenne, Wyoming to haul freight, and went on Union Pacific lines around Nebraska with freight trains. Also, the locomotive was retired, then came to be part of the Trails and Rails Museum in Kearney, Nebraska, where it is on display, static display where it is today. Also, Union Pacific 481 is one of 21 surviving Union Pacific 280s in the world today, and you can find Union Pacific 481 here at the Trails and Rails Museum in Kearney, Nebraska, where it is on display today, and you can even visit the cab of the locomotive and even sit where the engineer and fireman used to sit. Union Pacific 25,369 was built in 1955 and was used behind freight trains in the past on the Union Pacific Railroad, and is a CA6 class steel caboose. This caboose was one of the many steel Union Pacific cabooses used behind freight trains and on the Union Pacific line. Union Pacific 25,369 was then renumbered as Union Pacific 2796 in 1960, then went back to its original number. Then Union Pacific 25,369 was then retired in 1977 and then donated to Kearney, Nebraska to be part of the Trails and Rails Museum where it is today. Also, you can walk inside the caboose and look around the inside as well as you're checking out the exterior. What you see right behind me is the Union Pacific Shelton Depot. The Union Pacific Shelton Depot was built in 1898 and was originally located in Shelton, Nebraska. This depot had sat next to the Union Pacific tracks in Shelton and was used for passenger service many years ago, and also it served as a passenger depot as well, and it would also be used for passenger service, and people would board a train going somewhere from Shelton or arriving on a train coming from somewhere on the Union Pacific trains many years ago as well. And also, the back of the depot was used to move freight in and out of the building as well. Then in 1975, it was donated to the Trails and Rails Museum by the Union Pacific Railroad and was moved from Shelton, Nebraska to this spot at the Trails and Rails Museum in Kearney, Nebraska, where it is today, and also it was the first building on the grounds of Trails and Rails Museum. See right here, this is a switch stand that's here on display behind the caboose at Trails and Rails in Kearney, Nebraska. And here part of the railroad memorabilia. See right behind us the Union Pacific flat car was built like probably in the 1950s or earlier and is a flat car. This flat car was used on the Union Pacific Railroad many years ago and used for carrying stuff that a flat car carried many years ago, such as steel beams, bulldozers, and other kinds of construction machines and other different types of cargo that are carried on railroad flat cars that this flat car carried in the past. Then, later on, it was retired and came to be part of the Trails and Rails Museum in Kearney, Nebraska, where it is today, and also its number is currently unknown, and also it has a tractor standing on top as well, and some other items that are like farm materials as well. You can see right here, this is a bench with railroad tracks, miniature train tracks on the back side, and this probably was new in 2016, I believe, or maybe later in 2015. And also, probably going to add some trains on this someday in the future, maybe. I hope you all enjoyed about trains with me today. Matthew Lab Train Guy segment show. Also, I hope to see you all again in the next segment. So this is Matthew Lab, host of Matthew Lab Train Guy segment show. Sign out until next time.